Let's talk money matters now. We'll bring in the former Labor Senator Stephen Conroy. We'll start in Victoria with the Treasurer Tim Pallas. He's off and running. Is he seeing the writing on the wall, do you think, Stephen?
Look, Tim lives 3 streets away. He's been a close friend of mine for over 30 years. He's had the toughest job in politics if you're a Labor MP. That's been Treasurer. Toughest job, is traditionally in opposition is being the leader. Toughest job in a Labor government is being the Treasurer. He's been faced with the COVID crisis. People forget that Victoria had the longest, hardest lockdowns. It had the biggest impact, and that's why the debt was run up. It was for a purpose, to keep the economy alive, to make sure that people kept their jobs. And so I think history will not judge Tim and his time as Treasurer as harshly as some of the commentary that's taking place in the last 24 hours. But look, it was always a struggle to keep him to stay. I know personally I've talked about it with him. He was committed to going. He just wanted to try and get those numbers as tight as he could before he went. Good luck to him. He's been an extraordinary servant of the people of Victoria. People are going to disagree with some of the decisions that were made, but Tim deserves his chance.
Stephen, I didn't listen to a word you just said then.
Well, look, it is Christmas, and in case Man United fans didn't know, when Chelsea win their next match this weekend coming, they will go to the top of the Premier League.
Yeah.
Which I think Man U fans probably basking in a great victory over City.
No. I know.
12th.
I know we are. 12th. United is a long way off from competing. It just irritates me that your time in the doldrums, you weren't in it for as long as we were. But anyway, I mean, if you're back to the Victorian matters, if you're going to give Tim Pallas a pass for that debt that he's run up, do you give the former coalition government a pass for the debt that it ran up during COVID times?
No, I'm not critical of the debt that was run up by the former federal government. But what is utterly hypocritical is Angus Taylor pretending that they didn't run it up for good purpose, and then going, "Oh my God, look at the size of the debt, Angus. You ran it up. We've been reducing the debt." So you don't get to go, "My God, this is the worst thing in the world. There's all this debt." The only way Angus's prescriptions can be delivered is to plunge the economy into recession. And that's actually what the Liberal Party want. They want interest rates to stay high. They want government to cut spending massively so the economy goes into recession and they can go, "Oh my God, the Labor government are terrible." What Jim Chalmers is doing is trying to get the balance right between keeping the economy actually growing and bringing down the deficits and bringing down debt and taking pressure off interest rates.
But isn't the record spending, though, isn't that what is keeping or helping to keep interest rates high, therefore punishing mortgage holders for longer than they need to?
Look, the Reserve Bank and Angus Taylor both want the same thing. They want to solve the interest problem by putting the Australian economy into recession. It is the job of a government, especially a Labor government, to ensure that unemployment doesn't start running off, that the economy grows, that real wages rise. And that's where the real hypocrisy of the Reserve Bank, well, to be fair, Michelle has said, "Hey, I expect another 100,000 Australians to be on the unemployment queue to get interest rates down." Well, that's not the way the Labor government views it. They're not going to slash and burn government spending, the only thing keeping the economy out of recession. The only thing. And so Angus Taylor can sit there and complain about the size of the debt that his government ran up and say it's not being brought down fast enough. But his real agenda is simply put the Australian economy into recession.
Okay. Stephen, we will leave it there. I think this might be the last time we chat.
It is. So Merry Christmas.
Yeah, same to you. Merry Christmas. And so your cat. I'm disappointed that your cat didn't make an appearance for this final effort.
Raffy is just behind the Christmas tree on his little perch where he sits. You can't quite see him, but just behind that Christmas tree, the cat is asleep. He's been fed this morning, and so he's memo yourself. Always
very
feed
good.
Raffy before I do the show.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to talking to you through the break anyway when we exchange results. But anyway, thanks again, Stephen. I always enjoy talking to you.